You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
Bournemouth announcer, listeners, is calling for some noise for the boys. I'm hoping my microphone is not overwhelmed with the noise they are getting, which is from the travelling Millwall support. 1,300 officially here. I think there may be more dotted around the Vitality Stadium, aka Dean Court, here in beautiful sunny South Coast Bournemouth. It's a vital game. Mill's season rests upon us winning. Nothing happens if we don't win today. Otherwise, we need Luton and Sheffield to lose, and of course Borough to get no more than a point. On this finale, this final day of the strange 2021-2022 Championship season. Welcome to AchtungMillwall, dear listeners. My name is Nick Hart. You are listening to the #1 Millwall podcast. As you will have gathered by now, I've driven down on Saturday morning, early doors, to the south coast. It's a very genteel area. First time I've actually been to what they call the Vitality Stadium. I have been to the old Bournemouth ground back in the day. I haven't been there for a long time. I don't know why. Certainly haven't been to the new ground. I'm hoping this recording is sufficiently clear for me to use. If it isn't, we'll have to come up with another alternative show, listeners. But there we are, just waiting for the two teams to come out. As I've said, it's a beautiful sunny day, a touch windy. The pitch looks green like a billiard table out there. Kind of a crisscross design on it. Just waiting for the entrance of the teams, and here they come, the Lions, all in white today, dear listeners. Playing Bournemouth in their traditional red and black stripes. Your Lions team this afternoon, listeners. Bar in goal. Back line, we've got Murray Wallace, Sean Hutchinson, Jake Cooper, Danny Mack. Midfield, I think, three. Ryan Leonard, Jules Saville, Billy Mitch. And the front three, Mason Bennett, Bennett Afobe and Oliver Burke, with Jed Wallace on the bench, at least to start the game off. I think this situation's been analysed to death. I've got nothing new to add other than the fact we need a win. The travelling Millwall believe they can do it. I believe we can do it. The only wild card is what happens elsewhere. That's beyond our control. Bournemouth, of course, have their own party mode, having been promoted already midweek. It was a 1-0 win over Nottingham Forest. We have to hope that sense of being on the Bournemouth beach is retained in their starting 11 this afternoon. Let's keep our fingers crossed, listeners. As Mill going to be kicking us off, attacking the, I don't know what end that is, the Vitality end. So, not the Park end, the other end. And away we go, dear listeners. It all comes down to this. Fantastic travelling support this afternoon, listeners. Bournemouth just playing out from the back. We're looking to press them early on. Bennett Afobe does well. Big debate about Bennett Afobe. Is he or isn't he a signing worth having? I believe he is. Where do you stand, listeners? I think he's got that quality touch that we lack traditionally as a club, have lacked. But I do agree, it sometimes doesn't do the work, which is the Millwall way, of course. But he's certainly a signing I would make. We wait to see. It's going to be a very short summertime close season this year, with the early start to next year with World Cup looming. Going to be an odd break in the season. From our point of view, this is all about the result. It's a win. Goals would be nice, but I don't think we can set ourselves that kind of target, listeners. All this may sound very ironic when you get to hear the show post-result, but there we are. That's how it seems to me. 2 minutes into the game. Lovely midfield tackle by Billy. Gives Bennett Afobe the chance to break. This is a little touchback. Billy Mitchell's in the middle. He's done well to retain possession for the Lions there. Millwall pressing forwards. Ryan Leonard playing in more of a defensive role this afternoon. I put him in midfield in my pre-match assessment. But he's been playing more defensively this afternoon. Ball down the left. This is Benik on the left now. Ticking towards the 3rd minute. He cuts in. That's going to be a free kick from Millwall. Chance to cross the ball. Set piece. I'm parked in a shopping centre just down the road from the... They're about a 5-10 minute walk down the road. Really struck by the gentility. I mean, I love Bournemouth and this whole South Coast area anyway. It's a really, really nice area. But it always seems a very odd place for there to be a professional football club in the midst of all the tweeness and the gentility of suburbia. Ball in from the left now from the free kick. Deep. That's headed back across goal, bouncing around. Mason Bennett's won the ball back there. Millwall playing at full throttle at the moment. That's going to go for a goal kick. Historically, Bournemouth were Bournemouth and Boscombe Athletic. They changed their name in the early 70s, and which had the I don't know if the hidden effect or the intended effect of moving them to the front of every football yearbook from B to A. I still think of them as Bournemouth and Boscombe. Ted McDougall, he was there because he went to Manchester United, I remember. But I haven't been to this new ground. It's quite a neat little stadium, the Vitality Stadium. Four basic stands, basically. Too many basicness in that sentence. Four stands, quite neatly done. I think about 12,000 capacity, so not one of the game's cauldrons, but quite a nice, neat little setup. Ticking towards 10 minutes. This is Millwall pressing forwards. It's been largely speaking Millwall possession this opening 10. Not seen anything yet from Bournemouth. That said, they are a decent side, as we know. It's a nice little attempt at a 1-2 on the right side of the box there. That's going to be brought out by the defender, but good work there. Makes it into a throw-in on 10 minutes. A lot of replica shirts, I noticed, in and around the Dean Court Stadium here. Was almost put in the path. Lions defence looks flying by the seat of its pants there, but somehow we put it off. But then Murray is dispossessed. There come Bournemouth again on the right side. The Mill penalty area. Shot from the edge of the penalty area. That's gently angled over the bar. 15 minutes. Yeah, a lot of replica shirts. This is replica shirt city all around it. It's all very nice and twee. But a lot of club shop. They must make a fortune in their club shop, listeners. Absolute fortune. Long ball forwards. The 11's through on goal. That's a great save there by Bart Bielkowski. Touch completely beaten to the punch there by that 37 by the 11. The shot lacked power, and Bart did well to get his body in the way. All getting beaten now by the ball over the top, course offside, not given there. This is the 33 on the left side. This is 26 from distance. Mill block it, the 9. Mill can see the corner, left-sided corner. 20 minutes into the game, Mill keeping possession nice. It's a long ball. Finds Danny Mack on the right side. Ball headed in towards. Almost runs through to a phobia there, just at the last, taken away by the Bournemouth defence. 22 minutes into the game, listeners, for a quarter of the game gone. Bright early start for Mill, now fading to increasing chances for Bournemouth to break, with balls out from defence, over the top of the Mill defence, and we're getting a little bit caught for pace at times. That's a ball forward from right there, no one chasing, unfortunately. Mill not quite clicking. Preston have beaten Middlesbrough, I hear, from my source. Here come Bournemouth. This is the 11. He's looked dangerous. Another little shot in, blocked nicely by Jake Cooper. Back to the 32. Mill a little bit sluggish in defence here at the moment, listeners. We do need to get it away. It's gone for a throw-in. We're going to have a nervous breakdown, listeners, following these score lines all afternoon. Bournemouth breaking now. It's to the right side of the Mill penalty area. some white shirts flood back. I mean, I will say we've defended well so far, listeners. Been caught a couple of times, but then you'd expect them to be a decent side. They're a promotion-winning side. Played well all season, so we are up against it. I don't think this is 100% a first-choice 11 for Bournemouth, but it's not far short of it. They've got some good players in reserve, clearly, so we are up against it here today. Last 2 seconds and a half now. Danny Mack on the right. We've not done enough to unlock this Bournemouth defence this half, listeners. Can't believe it won't be too long before we see Jed Wallace for the second half. It's Jake Cooper down there. This is Benik Afobe. Saddle goes tumbling. What's the referee given? Half time is what he's given. 0-0. A lot of effort, Millwall. A lot of scuffle. Pressing. We've been our luck a little at times. Some of the balls out from the Bournemouth defence have been nice and have caught us a little flat-footed, but otherwise 0-0 at the break. Let's have a look at the other scores. The crucial. Sheffield United 3, Fulham 0. Come towards half-time. Preston 2-0 now up against Middlesbrough. Luton 0-0. That's the crucial result now, listeners. Luton 0, Reading 0.
Achtung, Millwall.
Skullduggery, apparently, at Luton, listeners. Just had a quick look on my iPhone to see the goalkeeper dropping the ball very, very casually in front of the Luton striker for 1-0 to Luton, which obviously destroys our season. Probably best to say no more. Than it looks very, very unusual. Kieftenbeld coming on. What madness is this, listeners? The second half. Very odd. You can hear the reaction. They have that is a club-sponsored chant. A big scream of a fan calling out Red Army, which the crowd respond to. I know we may not be involved now in the playoffs the way it's looking at the moment, but thank God that's not our club, listeners. That's a bit of a buzzkill to start the second half off with. Don't understand that substitution. There may be a reason for it. I don't understand. I don't know why we're not seeing Jed Wallace. I know the circumstances of the results are not going our way at the moment, but we've still got to play to what's in front of us. And unless we win today, we're going nowhere, listeners. It's a steward trying to prevent the erection of a flag, Millwall flag. As you can tell, he's got no hair. Jake Cooper trying to find a Afobe. He does. This is now Kieftenbeld. Burke, ball into the middle, cut out the last by the 5. Nice move, Millwall. More like it, listeners. Better start. There he is. At last, 56 minutes. He's going to have 34 minutes to try and change things out there, listeners. This will give a chance for Jed to come in. Mason Bennett's coming out, but it's what Jed's coming in. Will this be his last appearance in the Millwall shirt? Ball breaks on the left side. 32's made a great run into the box. That's slid across the face of the Millwall goal. We dodged a bullet there, listeners. Just short of the 60th minute. Ball was going out of play, but really nice pick up by the 32. I think it was surging run into the Mill penalty area and then a ball across the face of the 6-yard box. Still in play down that far end. From where I'm standing, it's hoofed clear in the end by Millwall. Benik Afobe, can he take and turn? He can. He's been clipped. Referee lets play flow. This is a chance of Bournemouth 1-0. The 11, edge of the penalty area. offside. Must have been an offside in there, listeners. I couldn't tell you where from. Disallowed. Do slightly feel the game is ebbing away from us slightly. Oh, loose ball. Bell goes flying in from a loose ball. The 15 wants to have it out with him. Yellow card for Bell as he went in studs up. If you're going to do it, hurt him, and he has hurt him, I think. 67 minutes. Touch of the psycho about Michael Bell, listeners, isn't there? As it stands, the table showing us in 8th position, Luton on 75, so 5 points short of the playoff spots in the end, listeners. Just 20 minutes of this to play. I know the fat lady isn't singing yet, but that's where it is at the moment. Here comes Saville. He's got Jed overlapping him, balls into the box. That's too close to the goalkeeper, unfortunately. I don't normally go for a game checking other teams' scores, listeners. It's quite a strange, nerve-wracking experience. Although that goal at Luton has pretty much deflated the afternoon from the Mill perspective. An 8th position is looming for us at the moment, if this stays the same. Not a bad finish. One that's probably at the start of the season we might have said would be a good result for a club of our size and resources. I suppose having the... this is Tom Bradshaw coming in now, 73rd minute. Burke coming out. Having the prospect of playoff football tantalisingly close to us, it does seem like a sense of disappointment, but we probably shouldn't look at it that way. Big summer ahead. It's going to be interesting to see if Gary Rowett stays, in my opinion. We don't know that. We presume that. And what form the rebuilding will take for the club. There's the Mill penalty out, a 9. 21 with him, 75 minutes. They're passing the ball backwards and forwards with some freedom. That went across the face of the goal. 37 now, just shot on, headed away by, I think that was Hutchinson. Obscure song there, listeners. I don't know what that was all about. The lyrics eluded me. 77 minutes. Joel Saville in midfield now. 78 minutes. This is Jed Wallace from distance. Will he have a go? He will. Wide left. Low daisy cutter shot. Worth a go. Quickly taken throw in. The Bournemouth attack are completely in front of the Mill defence. It should be a goal. Yeah, it's 1-0. Mill pressing forwards, chasing a goal. Got caught on a break. It's 1-0 Bournemouth. Well, there it is, listeners. If it wasn't confirmed already, it's doubly confirmed. As the gentleman in front of me says, the dream is indeed over. If it ever was real, it was a chimera. It was a vision. A piece of cheese in the dark. A dream from within a dream. 18 minutes on the clock. Saville's caught on the ball. He's going to get a yellow card for that. Pulled his man down there when he's caught on the ball. Caught dwelling on the ball. Local constabulary have lined up in front of us. I'm not sure why. I haven't seen any moves to invade the pitch. Bournemouth still with possession on the edge of the Mill penalty area. Trying to work space for a shot. That's hoofed clear in the end. No one really has stood out as a mega good performance today, listeners, for me in the team. There's been a lot of effort. There's been plenty of pressing. We had no cutting edge worth the name. We've not created any chance that springs to mind other than from long throws, and even then there were only half chances at best. Hard to pick a man of the match, but for sheer effort, I think all the usual suspects, Danny Mack, Ryan Leonard's done well today, but none have really shone. I suppose it's worth reminding ourselves that Bournemouth are a promoted side. very good side, and we've more than held our own, apart from that late goal, which was a ball across our own, but just into a corner. Very odd. Conceded a corner on the left side, almost passed it into his own net in effect. Added time. Not that it makes any difference to us, but I like to add this detail in for completeness' sake, listeners, otherwise you'll be thinking this is a less than professional show. Second wave of reinforcements now for the Coppers. They're doubled up like it's Rorke's Drift down there, listeners. There he is, Bournemouth 1, Millwall 0. In the end, Millwall were not good enough. We fell short. I think that's been the lesson of the season. A late surge caused a bit of excitement in the season. We got close, but in the end, not enough quality. Well, there we are, listeners. That's going to be our coverage from Dean Court, also now known as the Vitality Stadium for health and life assurance with Vitality.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back, dear listeners. Joining me on the show now to chew over the cud from yesterday's 1-0 loss and eventual 9th place position in the Championship it's a stellar cast. Actually, it's the originals. It's the classic lineup from Love Sport Radio all those years ago. Joining me is star of BBC's Radio 5 Live and many other formats, Mr. Aaron Paul. Welcome to the show, Aaron.
Welcome in. You all right?
Good, mate. And the notorious HW, Mr. Harry Warren. How are you, H?
Yeah, I'm good. Notorious, yes. Yes. I think infamous would be better.
I got forwarded a post from a source where people are talking about our show on a famous Millwall website, going on about that Harry fellow who won't have Gary Rowett at all, and have we got an anti-Rowett agenda on our show, which I personally don't, but it's good. It's better to be talked about than not to be talked about, as Oscar Wilde.
At least we can spell his name.
I mean, that's a plus point.
Chaps, it's over. The dream died down there on the south coast. Or did it die with that very odd goal for Luton against Reading? I mean, we needed a win yesterday, Aaron, and we were never really in sight of a win at any stage. I felt yesterday it was quite a contained performance, I think is one way to put it yesterday. How did you see yesterday's show?
Yeah, drop points. It's drop points elsewhere, Nick. You can't sort of leave it to the final day.
No, you can't.
Birmingham game. We've got the Swansea game at the Den. Middlesbrough at the Den.
Yeah. Many performances that season.
There was so many games.
Forest at home last minute.
Blackpool away. Like games
away.
Like Bristol City, who, let's be fair, shit. You just look at these and you sit and I was talking to someone from the club yesterday, and I'm like, oh God, if only there was a late goal there, or manage to sort of scrape something here, scrape something there, you'll be able to get it. But there's obviously like a lot of emotion at the end of the game yesterday. I found myself quite sort of like upset at the final whistle. I don't know if it was a case of watching Jed do his thing over on the far side, which was quite emotional. Yeah. Or the fact that obviously, the dream is over, because as Harry will know, I've been sat dreaming about it for about 5 days now. We've been like fantasizing about different ideas in our head about Millwall getting into the playoffs. It's just that simple thing. And spoke to Gary Rowett after the game, and one journalist asked him, what was it? And I just looked at him. And he looked at me, and I just had this look on my face to say, if you can't tell what it was, no one will know. And he said the same old thing. We need a 25 goal a season striker. Yeah. And everyone is searching for that. Everyone wants that player. Where do you find that player? Yeah, where do you find that player? I mean, I agree with Harry. I mean, you were watching it. I know you saw a stream of it yesterday.
I mean, I don't particularly want to turn this into a criticism of the starting lineup. There've been some odd choices at various times, and some will say that's a downer on Gary Rowett in a sense. I mean, I know you've been a critic of him, and I didn't quite understand why no Tom Bradshaw to start us. Yes, there may have been tactical reasons that I didn't quite absorb up there in the stand, but we never really looked like we were going to get anywhere close yesterday. I mean, for a big situation, I think I remember one header with Hutchinson in the first half that looped over the crossbar, free header, and it just got away from him. Apart from that, I don't remember anything at all across the whole game.
Yeah, I think they're a good side, aren't they? They've been promoted
No,
for a
good
reason.
side. Yeah.
They have things that we don't have, and this is, if you actually take the Millwall emotion out of it. I tried to watch yesterday when the results elsewhere weren't going our way, and it was kind of quite obvious that we, Sheffield United going 4-0 up in they went 3-0 up in 20 minutes, so that was done. So then you were looking for Reading to perform miracles for you, really.
Yeah.
And what Bournemouth have that we don't have is the way that it's not necessarily the way they move the ball. It's not the style of play. It's what they do when they've got the ball, and they've got players that can get on the ball and they move with the ball and they go through the gears together as a team, and that's their pattern of play. What Millwall have got, we've got a lot of effort, we've got a lot of hard work. No one can question that. What we lack is a little bit of creative quality. That it comes from not just the manager, but that also comes from the players that we've got. We're very reliant on Jed, that's obvious. Ollie Burke is a different type of winger than Jed. Very, very pacey.
I don't think he had his best game yesterday.
Yeah, I think he did have a good game. And I think the thing is, as you said, the Hutchinson chance is the chance. You go 1-0 up, you've got something to defend. And I think that's Gary Rowett's favoured way of playing football, is to get that chance and to take that chance. I don't necessarily agree with him when he says that we need a 25 goal a season striker. I just don't think we create enough to have a 25 goal a season striker. I saw a table, an XG table, and Millwall 15th. That's not good enough. If you want to be a playoff side, that's not good enough, and that's what he wants us to be.
So I've got a question actually. I didn't mean to seize on the word, but that you said there, Harry, that's his favoured style or something. I can't remember how you put it now, but is that not canny management of a fairly average second championship squad? Nearly call it the second division, listeners. That's going back. So a championship squad, a fairly, it's not the best hand of cards. When you look at our opponents, I mean, clearly Fulham and Bournemouth are able to play a style with players of a different level to what we can muster. But is Gary Rowett therefore making the best of the hand of cards that he's been dealt, or could he be playing a more open, attractive attacking style and win 2 games, lose 1 game, and that propel us further up the table in some way? Is it, or is it that we have to make do with what we have? I don't know if I put that particularly well, but you know what I mean.
I think he's I think it's a bit chicken and the egg. You can't moan about the. I've been watching a lot of stuff on Brian Clough recently for just something that I've been doing, and
good choice.
Well, Cloughy used to say about it's his job to entertain people. It's his job for his sides to entertain people. Now, you look the other week when we had Peterborough at home and we sold the top end of the North Stand, as it's called, or the
away end, yeah.
Right? If you want extra money and you want bums on seats, you're going to have to play a more attractive brand of football, because people's money doesn't go as far as it did 6 weeks ago in this cost of living crisis that we're in. You've got to cut your cloth accordingly, and going and watching a dour attritional 1-0 championship win, isn't going to suit everyone. I totally can't knock Gary Rowett's achievements. I can't, and I'm not going to sit here and knock his achievements in where they've finished. However, I don't think he compromises enough when we go away from home against, for instance, your Blackpools, your Peterboroughs, at home against Swansea. He doesn't seize upon us. There seems to be a little bit, and that's the only real criticism. And that's so important at our club, because you have to play and beat the budget by doing that, if you know what I mean. And he's a great manager other than that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that lets him down. That's the thing that I'm worried about going into this next season.
I mean, Aaron, that's the eternal football dilemma, isn't it? I mean, the Don Revy functional. You're not here to be entertained. You are here to watch a result, a 1-0 win for Leeds back in the 70s, or the Brian Clough, as Harry's put it. You're here to be entertained, and maybe you'll win one, you'll lose one. I don't know.
I've got so many points to make on sort of this whole topic. You know, we talk about managers and we look at philosophies and stuff, and Gary Rowett's philosophy is to play defensive football and to make sure you are solid at the back first. He obviously, you know, played as a defender. He's very well coached and very well drilled in that aspect. It's pragmatic football at its best, with, you know, hard working quality is the more important thing over sort of like out and out talent. And that's why we see the best of Jed, because he's got both. He's a hard worker. He'll graft. You know, you see him everywhere, but then he pulls out that bit of quality, and people appreciate that. I think the struggle that we've found is that, obviously, as Harry says, you know, you go away from home to a lesser side, and you want to change shit up, and you want to go and say, right, let's attack them and let's change things. The problem is, you can't. That manager won't do it. The manager won't change things up because it goes against his style, against his philosophy, the way he's coaching things. Now, going back to yesterday and just looking at sort of, you know, the way that Millwall attacked, I don't think it was about the manager, Harry, personally. I think you've got a group of players there who haven't spent enough time with each other, who aren't going to spend much time with each other, who don't really care. The likes of Afobe will go back. Burke will go back. Luke Freeman's not playing. You've got a lot of loanees in there. You've got a lot of people that, you know, are out of contract. I'm not saying they don't care in that sense, but I'm saying you look at the loanees. Why are they going to get to know a teammate, work on patterns of play, etc., etc.? Nick, you were there. How many times was Afobe put in through and his time was his run was mistimed?
Yeah.
How many times?
We didn't.
The amount of times he got on the ball, missed time, or he slipped, or he couldn't quite latch onto a ball, or, you know, someone's trying to get something going like a Burke, and they're not quite in sync.
We weren't quite clicking. No, I agree.
Well, look, you know, think back to, you know, the days of some of the great Millwall strike forces. There were combinations. There were people that worked together.
Yeah,
and
historically, yeah.
You know, there were people that worked together. You know, Morrison and Harris worked together so well. Morrison and Gregory worked together so well. You think about these people; they work together. They are sort of like paired, if you like. And the problem is, there's too many individuals in that team right now where there's question marks above their heads. It's going to be a massive summer. There's obviously question marks over the manager's head as well. Yeah. Will he stay? Will he go? I spoke to him after the game, and he said he needs a holiday. He loves this club. That's what he said. But, you know, his family live quite far away.
They're up in the Midlands, aren't they? Derby.
Yeah, he's based around sort of the Derby way. That's where he comes from. And he's got a young family. And, you know, we're seeing the toll that the past 2.5 years has taken on people who work in football. I'll be honest with you, I'm fucking knackered.
I agree. Yeah.
It's been crazy. You know, we talked about it yesterday about how everything just feels like one block for us, you know. And yes, we're very lucky we work in the game, but it zaps everything out of you. And you look at someone like Tony Mowbray, a very strong character, and he's turned around and said, I just want to spend time with my kids. I want to spend time with my boy. And Gary said the same thing. He said he's got a 13-year-old who he barely sees and he wants to give some time to him, but he wants to take this club to the next level. The question mark is that with the financial situation at the club, with the, you know, the way they operate and the way they do things, and the way they have to cut their cloth to ensure that they're not doing stupid stuff like other clubs are, how hard is this window going to be? What difficulty level are we going to find it on?
Well, it's got to be hard because of the narrowness of the window itself. I mean, the next season starts on July the 30th, and as we're recording this now, it's May the 8th. So I think I've counted that up earlier on this afternoon, listeners, when I was slightly at a loose end. That's 81 days. That's really not very long at all by anyone's standards. I mean, I take the point with Gary Rowell. I mean, I've said a few times, I don't know whether this is my seventh son of a seventh son instinct. But I do wonder if you've got young family, a 13-year-old boy, there we are, a very tender age where the boy will need his dad around. And I think Rowett lives in a rented flat down here somewhere. I think it might not be far from where I live. And he goes back home when he can, and that's got to be a strain. I think we can all relate to that. So I do think it's a big summer. I also think he's an honourable man. I know that it's been a tough season, and there's been some. Everyone remembers the Peterborough game where it's your football is shit, Gary Rowett. But I do think he does give a shit.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he does. I think that I think the balance between family and work is a tough one. We all have that to face in our working lives. But to be living away when I'm sure he's doing financially very well out of it. Don't get me wrong, listeners. But I can imagine that it would cross your mind at least. I mean, it'd cross everyone's mind, wouldn't it? That if you've got family up there in Derby and you're living in London constantly, it must be a factor you'd weigh up.
Look, everyone wants to work where they're from. The fact is that Gary Rowett's stock has not gone down by taking the Millwall football job. His stock was as low as it was going to get after being sacked by Stoke. He come to this job. He's taken the job. He's got the club to 3 decent finishes. But there are jobs available, and there are jobs available.
Well, there will be. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
I mean, Blackburn screams Gary Rowett to me. Literally screams Gary Rowett. And let's be honest, if you get to do the same job closer to home for probably more money, are you going to turn it down?
Well,
as people talk about football. It's just a job. It is a job. At the end of the day, you go to work, you put food on your family's table, which is kind of what we're saying. And do I think the Blackburn squad is worse than ours? Probably not. Do I think the job's more difficult? Maybe, because their owners aren't particularly the easiest people to get on with. And we have a very, very decent owner. But Gary Rowett's position is by the by for me. It's what we do recruitment wise. We've got a lot of players out of contract. We're losing arguably the best player in the championship.
Well, that'll Gary Rowett's position will be linked with that because you're right. Recruitment. I was just reading an article. I think it's on London News Online talking about the big summer. Aaron's referred to the big summer ahead. There's a big clear out. There's a lot of players that are at the end of their contract. Gary Rowett and the recruitment will be either in his image, so to speak, or if not, it's going to be
midfielders.
It's going to be in the image of somebody else. I mean, it won't give the club very long if he does decide he doesn't want to carry on here, and who knows? We are speculating this as we're not any inside track here. But if he does move on, then it doesn't give the club time at all to find anyone, does it?
Nick, this summer's going to be broken up into 3 blocks. We're in the first block right now. It's basically to the end of playoffs, the end of the month. The next block is hirings, firings, sackings. The next block, that's sort of 30th of May to 30th of June. 30th of June is when all the players' contracts expire.
Yeah.
30th of June to 30th of July is, right, everyone, let's go on a mad one and start signing players. You got a lot of players in that Millwall squad who are leaving. I mean, I know Harry's probably done sort of a naked lap because Alex Pearce is leaving. He's buzzing. He is absolutely buzzing.
I was just going to come on to that, Harry.
Him, Mahoney. Fuck me. The problem is that Millwall can't afford to carry Deadwood. The budget doesn't allow for it. I mean, what the fuck was he doing giving him another year? Mental, absolutely mental. But he's the Messiah. I can't slag him off. Apparently,
I think the squad, the squad's small. You've got to have some element of depth. I know, we can't be kicking a ball around in a kid's pool. You're in the championship. It's a marathon.
Well, injuries found out our small squad, Aaron, didn't they?
This is a fallacy. This is a fallacy. It's not true. We got our best results of the season when we had less players to pick from because the average choice is worse at Millwall. Millwall play well with 16 players. Right, they play well with a tight.
But that's not squad. Sustainable, Harry.
No, of course it's not. But the players we brought in this season as squad depth were not good enough. And the players that are still there, it's no good replacing someone. I agree like Pearce, if you're going to replace him with someone that's no better than him, right? But when we replace people, the idea is to replace someone with someone better. It's not the idea is to replace someone with some shit Northern Championship journeyman. That's not what we want. I don't need that. I don't need George Evans. I don't need Alex Pearce.
The article mentions Alex Pearce. Moving on.
I don't need fucking Luke Freeman to play 12 minutes. It's not good ideas.
Michael Keefton-Belt is also in the final weeks of his terms. They mentioned his name, so I'm going to guess he will be moving on.
You know what I really liked about Birmingham, but God help me, I do not know what he's done at Millwall.
Mate, that touch with the chance where Bournemouth's keeper rolls it out to him, and he basically goes, "I've had a bad touch. I'm going to kill you." And over the honestly, another day could have gone. Another day he could have been sent.
Well, I was surprised. I mean, I agree because it was actually quite close to where I was standing yesterday, and I thought, blimey, that was a rash challenge, Michael Keefton-Belt. And yeah, I thought he was quite lucky to stay on actually because you've seen those shown as red.
I wouldn't even minded if he had gone to have a shot, but it was like, what is this touch? It was neither a pass nor a nor control. Just
an interesting paragraph or two in the News Online interview is Gary Rowett talking about the budget of the club, and I think I put it in bold. Here we are. So he says it's clear there's a big sum ahead for us, and we might need a little bit of investment in one or two players. And then he goes along, blah blah blah. Sometimes it's that little bit of quality, boys, and unfortunately it's needed. And unfortunately, this division that doesn't come cheaply. I'd love to say it does, but it doesn't. So I'm going to guess, Aaron, that much will depend on the depth of John Berylson's pockets in the sense of willing to go to a level that we probably haven't gone to previously in terms of investment in players. That's going to be maybe a determinant in whether Gary Rowett decides that he wants to continue or not.
I think there's going to be a lot of value in the free market. There's going to be a lot of value in League One, League Two. A player I really hope Millwall sign is Jack Rodoni from Wimbledon because he's going to be going somewhere, and I'd hope it be to a club like Millwall where he turns into a proper player.
Football Manager legend.
Mate, Rudy's a really
ridiculous.
He's a really good player. He's someone who could become something really good.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of value in the frees. You look around in the free market, a lot of players whose deals are expiring, and it's about how quick you are off the mark to go and get these players and how urgently you want them. When you think about it now, how many defenders? Mill need probably a fullback, a centre half. How many midfielders? I don't know.
Not many.
Depends what kind of style we want to play, isn't it?
The style they're playing. It depends on the style. Depends on. It's going to be a very strange one.
I'm going to guess, boys. I'm going to guess if Gary Rowett stays. Let's work with that proposal. That we're going to be. We want to play a better style of the existing format, which is a contain and hit on the break. In a nutshell, I think that's the kind of
contain, ball to tears, break. That's it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
it's effective. It is effective. Don't get me wrong. It gets
games you win, how many you lose. I mean, we went through phases this season where we didn't win enough, and that's what's left us short, 5 points short, I think, in the end, given the last day's results, which is not a bad outcome, but we need to do better. So I think that it depends. I can't believe that he's going to turn into this kind of all-out attack, Kevin Keegan of the late 1990s, where every player's coming in is going to be a striker, and it won't. That's not going to be it. So it's going to be, I'm hoping, good players, better players than perhaps we have, to play that kind of style. I don't see it changing particularly, Harry. Do you?
No, I don't see it changing. Millwall recruitment team. This is a direct challenge to the Millwall recruitment.
Alex
team.
Aldridge is mentioned in this article.
Alex Aldridge has only been there again, probably a month.
March,
right. So I'm hoping that Alex Aldridge has done a lot of work over the last month because, as Aaron says, Millwall, the free market, and you look over at Luton, a team that finished above us, had a budget that was smaller than us, which is a very rarity in this division. And look at what they've done in the transfer market. Look at the players they've got. Look at the style of play they play. Look at the pattern of play. Look at the way they play in terms of the way they transition. They are more entertaining to watch. I've got to be honest. They have been dour at times, and they're finished in front of us. So don't tell me it can't be done. That's the level you aspire
a massive
to.
achievement. I mean, I think you've got to take your hat off to Luton Town, who finish in 6th spot, and all the things you've said are correct there, Harry. But they're an unusual club in that sense. I'm just looking at all the other clubs that are above them and us in the table. I mean, Middlesbrough have missed out, Aaron, but you've got Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest, they're in the playoffs, Huddersfield, and then obviously the top two. I think we can probably quite neatly divide them away into a different bracket because of their parachute money. But you still do need. I mean, Luton are an outstanding but unusual example. Generally speaking, it's money.
Everyone, who was my tip?
Luton.
You're the guru. You're the guru of the.
As you said, Big Mick would sort them out.
And
that was right.
I want to, mate, pick up on the centre forward.
Elijah
Adebayo. You look at him.
Adebayo.
A year ago, as a player, he was very rash. Every attempt, it was like a case of hit and hope. Now he looks like a real refined player. He looks like a world beater. He's a really, old school, enjoyable forward.
They have Adebayo on 17. He's their top scorer. Then
that's coaching, though, Nick. That is Mick
13.
Harford.
So there's a 30 goal.
That's Mick Harford, and that is Cameron Jerome as well, because he's working with someone like Cameron Jerome, and it works.
Nick, don't forget what they added in midfield compared to us adding. I really feel sorry for the man because I'm sure he's a lovely, lovely individual, and everyone who sort of knows him has told me he's a nice man. But Millwall adding George Evans, right, and Gifton Bell. I'm comparing that to Luton adding Emery Lansbury and Robert Snodgrass.
Snodgrass is the one that struck me, yeah.
Right? So Snodgrass is going to whack you a delivery in between the two posts and go and head that. And he'll do it time and time and again. And he ain't got the legs.
It's funny you mention his name, Harry, because I was struck yesterday by the poor quality of our crossing. I mean, that it's been a great season for Danny Mack, but a number of times he got down the right side and the ball didn't beat the first defender. And that's contrast that. You're right, Snodgrass, West Ham and all the rest of it, Leeds, I think, as well.
He lives
he's a quality cross.
He lives right near me. He can be to the training ground in 40 minutes. There is no reason that there is not. Yeah, this is what annoys me. And I sit there and I look because I know how hard people work. I know how hard it is to go and scout people. Right? But they've got all these tools. It just. I know we've got a budget. I know we have to work to the budget. But this kind of Millwall there's a two-way of thinking. We've always been in the second and third, so that's a really good result to finish where we are.
Which it is, yeah.
Which it is in one sense, but football doesn't allow you to think that way because if you think that way, you get found out and you have a season like we did 4 years ago where we nearly got relegated. And that is what we do. We do that cycle. Okay, no, it's all right. We've done all right. But I want us to do better than all right. I want us to be that team that gets there once. I just want to, because if we get to the Premier League, this is what people don't understand. If we got there once, we'd be financially set. We wouldn't have to go through this struggle for the next 5 years.
We'd be the next Norwich. We'd be the next Norwich. But I mean,
it wouldn't probably be like that because we'd pay for this new training ground. We'd be able to attract the youngsters from the local area that go to all these other clubs because we'd have some form of actual facilities to entice them to go there. All the background stuff you need to be an elite club, we'd be able to do with 1 year there. We wouldn't even have to go into we'd go there. There's no point in trying to compete off one promotion to the Premier League. So we might as well wave the white flag and have our den days when Pep turns up and we call him a cunt at the Millwall Cafe or whatever. And it just would be what it was. And we'd go there and we'd get pumped and that's fine. And then we'd come down and we'd be better financially for the experience and we'd be able to build again. And we just need to understand that it doesn't mean that we've got to go and sign ex-Premier League players to add quality. I really don't want to see that this summer.
It's interesting. I'm just looking down the list of Luton players. I mean, we've mentioned Adebayo and Cornick. Some of these players are relatively unknown names. I know they've come to the fore this season, but then lurking in joint seventh top scorer is one Fred Onyedinma, a bit of a man cast out, but he's made a comeback. You've got to take your hat off to that kind of approach.
Someone who's playing at wing back. Nick.
Yeah.
We will see. A big summer lies ahead.
A system, very, very simply.
Who do we fancy to go up in the playoffs? Huddersfield versus Luton, Nottingham Forest versus Sheffield United. Who are you taking, out of that grouping to win through?
Huddersfield.
Huddersfield? Do you think
Forest.
so? I would have thought Forest, Aaron, personally. You agree?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
on scale.
I think their
and
arsehole goes.
Well, we'll find out.
If it does, Harry, they come back and they win the league next year.
Oh yeah, if they don't go up this season, they're winning the league.
destroy
Do
the
not
league.
get me absolutely wrong. I hope they go up because I can't deal with having Leeds and Forest in the division next season and having to watch it on Sky. Maybe custom out to me cutting my ears off Vincent van Gogh style.
Leeds, Watford, and Norwich. I mean, they would all expect to be contenders with their parachute payments, won't they? I mean, Norwich have done it before, Watford have done it before, and Leeds will now put themselves in that same category. And I'm presuming they're going to.
Will they keep Jesse March? That's the question.
There we are. Big summer ahead. I think we've probably explored every nuance of what can and can't be. Well, maybe will or won't be. We're going to have to wait and see the story unfold.
What are you going to be doing this summer, Uncle Nick?
Uncle Nick.
Got a few kind of history shows and whatnot to do. I'm going to take it easy for a little bit, Aaron. To be honest, it's I don't work on the same scale as you do in the trade, so to speak. But it's nice to have a bit of a break, and I'll probably be bored after a week, but we'll see how it goes. But at the moment, I think I'm just going to take a little time of not podcasting quite as much as we have done over the season. But I think you do miss it quite quickly. Football, I think it's a few days without it, and you start to wonder what you want to get the buzz back again, don't you? What are you going to do? I mean, you're all sports now, aren't you? You're doing the tennis this year.
The tennis this year. We'll do a bit of tennis. Hopefully, get a holiday at some point. Maybe 2 if I'm lucky. Just sneak away somewhere. I don't know. Need a holiday, I think, Uncle Nick. We've got our Achtung end of season social, which will be fun.
Yeah, that'll be in June 18th.
If you've received an invite, RSVP. Yeah.
What about you, Harry? You're going to be a busy boy. You said you're just saying off air with your football development.
Yeah, busy season, off season.
Yeah.
I think we're up to. Obviously started working last October, so there's a lot of stuff that we needed to sort out in the season. You can't really do that while you're grinding every Sunday. So, big summer for us, if I'm being honest. Bit like Millwall, no budget against teams with 5 times the amount of money to spend than we do. So I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a lot of that you can beat with hard work. I'll be totally honest. There is a lot of badly spent money in football. So time is the thing that you can't. Everyone's got the same amount of time.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you to everyone, all the guests on the show this season, the various guests. We tried to bring a few different voices on the show over the course of the season, but my mainstays, the core of my show. We've got 6 names here. The secret 6. Yeah, that's for the history stuff. Neil Fistler. It's been really interesting doing some of those shows with Neil. He's a very knowledgeable guy, and it's been really enjoyable doing that. Also, a huge thank you to Michael Avery for his assistance with the grassroots stuff. It's been really interesting.
AKA Fathers for Justice.
He's been prepared to go to real grassroots stuff, and I've balked at some of the real grassroots stuff he's been to. But I really love what he's doing now, and he's going to carry on next season. Ryan Loftus, he's not been on the show for a little bit. Ryan Lofty, but we will get him back soon. He brings a very different voice to the show, and I like it, and that's what the show is all about. That's why we try and do this. Same as Mr. Mike Hayden, who's away in Boston, I believe he said at the moment.
He's gone to ask John Berylson for a few more quid.
Yeah, that would be nice. If you're out there, Mike, if you're listening, I will give you a shout this week. I want to catch up with you and talk about Boston.
Win or lose, he's on the booze.
That's for sure. That's 100% for sure.
I want to say thank you to Mr. Aaron Paul, our professional BBC broadcaster class, as always, mate. Thank you for all your help,
mate.
Over the course of the season.
World famous AchtungMillwallachtungmillwall.
I've known Aaron since about 2017 when we met him.
Crazy, isn't it?
Love sport. It's a long time. It's a long time, actually. And it goes quickly, and you don't realise how quickly it goes. So huge thank you, Aaron. And of course, the final, the notorious man himself. I love him to bits, Harry Warren. Big thank you, H. It's always good to have you on the show. And your contrary opinions. Well, go down, people react to it. They love to hate you, or hate to love you, or something. I don't know what the word was.
I don't know. I feel like it's people don't realise that I'm really not this caricature when they meet me. They expect me to, I love it when they all expect me to be like this mad person.
Foaming at the mouth.
And it is. I will turn around and say this. I'm quite calm away from this. Like I will have a conversation with you, not scream. I don't know what this is. It just sort of brings the worst out of me. Well, yeah, maybe maybe the worst. I don't know. Maybe it's just the I don't know. I only do it because I care. I think that's. It's not done for monetary gain.
Dramatic. No money in it, mate. I'm afraid. No.
Yeah, that's it. We're not Arsenal Fan TV.
Fan TV. Oh God, no. That was another thing we did this season. Go to that podcast. But anyway, I've thanked all the guests on the shows. Many different voices. Too numerous to mention, but each and every one of them, I want to say thank you, and thank you to you too, dear listener. Without whom none of this would be worthwhile. So thank you all. That's it for the summertime. We will be back with
Jed Wallace.
Jed Wallace. Thank you, Jed Wallace.
Thank you, Jed Wallace, for making the last 5 years very enjoyable. Thank you very much.
Well, we will miss him. Big thank you to Jed Wallace. Wherever you go, whatever you do, mate, wish you well.
I'll be honest, Nick. I had a little moment with him after the game.
Yeah.
You know, we've grown to be,
friends.
Like, yeah. I don't want to say friends. Oh yeah, I don't want to, because that's what's going to happen. People between
friends. There's no one listening. No one listening for me and Eric.
Genuinely one of the loveliest people you ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
He's obviously joined me on 72 Plus, my podcast on 5 Live, and he is loved by everyone there. Like you will never meet someone who doesn't like him. Always enthusiastic. Turns up every time, on the button.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. I mean, having
seen his prep, Nick. You do not
seen some of the inside of your trade. That's unusual, and that's gold dust.
Like, does his prep? He is so. He'll message me the day before. Right, what we talking about tomorrow? Can we do this? Can we do? And I'm like, wow, like this is someone who's interested. This season he's branched out and done co-commentary with us on 5 Live.
Yeah,
the guy after football is going to be a media star because he's very honest, he's funny, he's quick, he's sharp, he's great, real family man. And it was quite emotional when he came over yesterday. And he was emotional as well. And we had a little bit of a cuddle. I'm not gonna lie, it was like one of them ones. It was a bit of a cuddle.
A bro hug. Yeah.
Yeah, I was quite emotional after the game. Like, I don't know, I just felt a bit sad because he's been so influential while I've sort of, followed Millwall with you guys, and he's just an absolute legend. And whatever happens, I think everyone wishes him well.
Absolutely, wish him well wherever he goes, whatever he does. I think you're right. I mean, you can kind of hear it in a player when they've got that media potential. I think you're right. Post footballing career, you can see him taking off. So he's always welcome on the show anytime.
I think we'll have him at some point.
Huge thank you to everyone. Thank you, listeners. And until, July the 30th, not that long away, we'll be back then. And otherwise, we'll be popping up on odds and sods through the summertime. Until then, Arrivederci Millwall, and bye for now.
You have been listening to Achtung Millwall. Please do leave us a review at Apple Podcasts. Danke schon. Up the Lions.